Welcome to part 1 of who the fuck did I bet. Let me stop. I'm already messing with y'all. See, that's my problem. I play too much. Okay, let's start over. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Leah, and I'm back. That's it. That's all. I know I have some explaining to do. For those of you who are not new here and you've been like watching my videos for some time now, I know you're probably wondering like where the hell I went, like where you was at, type shit. And I understand, and I will explain, but I'm here, and I'm here with an explanation, kind of. And this is my reintroduction to my channel. Okay, so sit back, relax, and get ready for a recap. Okay, you guys, so I don't really know how to start this because I had already filmed a video like this before and it was kind of all over the place, and I assume this one will be a little bit all over the place too. It shouldn't be too long of a video, but I just want to get like all my points across. Let me start off by saying that last year was not particularly a hard year for me, but it was a difficult year, if that makes sense. It wasn't hard in the sense that like I've had worse years, to be honest. Like I've had worse things happen to me multiple times throughout one singular year, and those were terrible years for me. But like last year wasn't one of those. I think things started to like fall apart for me, for lack of a better term, even way before that. So I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. I know that most of you, you come here, you watch my story times, and that's it. Like you kind of don't really know who I am. You don't really know much about me, and I kind of keep it that way for a reason. I've found that a lot of people are just very invasive. Like they just want to be in all your personal business. They like to cross boundaries and just do entirely too much, and I'm just not here for that. I'll cut this shit right now. I tried to put some boundaries in place, but I feel like this year I really just want to explain a little bit more about like who I am as a person, like outside of these story times, so you guys could get a better sense of like why I go missing and stuff like that. But let's begin. As some of you may know, I graduated in 2018 from like university, and then I came back home. When I came back home, I didn't really have a sense of what I was doing with my life, and I had a lot of pressure from like a lot of different places about what I was going to do. I grew up in a West Indian household, and so if you're West Indian, or if you're like African or anything like that, or even African American, like what the pressure is like to do something. Like you came out of college, you graduated, what now? And I honestly didn't know. I didn't know what I was gonna do, and I really didn't want to be put in a position where I was forced into grad school, because I feel like most people think intuitively like once you finish undergrad, the next step is to go to grad school. But for me, that was not the case. I graduated with a very distinct degree, and I just didn't think that going to grad school right away was going to be like, I didn't think it was gonna make sense, especially because I didn't know what path I wanted to take within that degree or within that career. So, I came back from college, I came home, and I kind of had to think and decide what I was going to do with my life. And so what I decided was that I was going to get a temporary job. So I worked in retail temporarily, and during my time working at said temporary job, I was going to figure out what I was going to do. Basically, my plan was to just reflect and to think, and big picture, I was going to let Jesus take the wheel, okay? Shout out Carrie Underwood. I was going to let Jesus take the wheel because I did not know what I was going to do. So at my time working at this retail job, I mean, of course it was horrible. It was awful, because who the hell likes working in retail? But during that time, when I was there, I knew that I was there just to like keep up with my lifestyle. I was there just to, like buy the things I wanted, and to, pay my phone bill and stuff like that. My parents were also always like super supportive of me. Realistically, I did not need this job. I wanted this job because I did not want to be home doing nothing. So yeah, I was at this job. I was doing my day-to-day routine and stuff like that. And at some point, I was at this job for like almost a year. I don't think I was there for a full year. I don't think I was. But I was at this job for almost a year, and it was time. It was time. I knew it was time because one day I woke up and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. That was it. I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't like this. I don't like doing this job. I don't like this environment. I do not belong here. And I remember one day I was working, and I was telling a woman like who worked on my same floor with me, I was telling her like, yeah, like I think I'm gonna leave here soon. And she was like, oh, why? Like, why are you gonna leave? And I was like, this is not for me. Like, I don't belong here. She was like, oh, what do you mean by that? And I was like, listen, like I just graduated from college. I have 2 degrees. I have a very strong background. I know what I want to do as far as like what sector I want to be in and what career path I want to be in. I just don't know the specifics. But what I do know is that I do not belong here and I don't want to be here. And in that moment, that woman kind of took an offense to what I was saying, because I think she took it as like I thought I was better than her because I had a degree and because I just graduated from college, and I think that I could do this and I think that I could do that. But I was telling her, like, no, it's not even like that. I think that I'm blessed enough to know when something is not for me and when it's time to leave. I wanted to come here and explain a little bit more about what I mean by, like, I felt like the job wasn't for me. Not only did I come into retail knowing that I wasn't going to be there for long and it was just there as a placeholder, but I also knew that with the type of person I am and like the type of things that I'm capable of dealing with, working with people who just treated you like the bottom of their foot was just not going to be a job that I was going to stay at. Not only that, but every morning I woke up, I was genuinely disturbed. I was anxious. I was nervous. I wanted to throw up. I was irritated. I was just not myself working at this job. And I knew that it wasn't going to be sustainable. It was never meant to be, but I knew it wasn't going to be sustainable. So in having this conversation with this woman, she's telling me she's been working there for however long she's been working there. And I'm like, yeah, nah, that's not for me. Like, I don't belong here. That's what I meant by that. It disturbed me to be at this job. Like, I felt myself deeply uncomfortable at this job. But yeah, that's what I meant essentially. So I want to come here and like explain a little bit more about how I felt and why I knew that it wasn't for me. That's all I was trying to say. I wasn't trying to say anything about me thinking that I'm better than nobody. It had nothing to do with that. It was just deep down, I felt like this was not where I was supposed to be. And of course, like I told y'all, this was always supposed to be temporary. I knew I wasn't going to be here for long. But it was just a matter of when. And so when I woke up that morning and I was just like, I'm ready. That's all she wrote. I started, applying for jobs. I applied for maybe, I want to say like 10, 15 jobs. And some of them were a scam. And some of them were like real, but they just didn't seem to align with what I wanted. And then one day I applied for a job and I was just like, there's no way I'm going to get this job. Like, I just graduated from college. Like, I don't have enough experience for this. This is a very reputable company. It just doesn't seem like I would be a good fit for them. But I heard back. I heard back the first time. I heard back the second time. I heard back the third time. I did all their assessments and I got a job. I don't know the right word right now, but it just felt like everything kind of came into place for me because I was waiting and I was waiting and I was waiting and I didn't know what I was waiting for. But the moment I woke up and I said I'm done and I started applying for jobs, it only took me 10, 15 jobs to get a job that was right for me. And I just felt so blessed and I felt so thankful that I just listened and I allowed God to do his thing. Okay, always just allowed God to do his thing. So I left my retail job and I started my new job in the career that aligned with my degree and stuff like that. So at this new job, at first I kind of felt a little bit of imposter syndrome because, again, this was my first big girl job out of college. I didn't know if I was like, right for the place. I didn't know what the environment really was going to be like, So I was just kind of, like I didn't know. Thankfully, throughout my first few months of being at this job, my team, they were very acclimating. They were very kind. They were very helpful. No one ever gave me bad energy at this job. And they were all super nice and helpful. And they were willing to help me transition and, do what they needed to do as my like higher ups. So I was thankful. It was a great job. My manager was phenomenal. Love her to this day. And yeah, that was my first job. That job that I was at, I worked at it for more than 2 years. Let's just say that. During what year was that? It's 2024, 2022. During 2022, if you are like a working adult, like you're in the workforce, you know that there was a time in 2022 that so many companies were doing like mass layoffs. I'm talking tech companies, I'm talking health companies, I'm talking every single company that was in like corporate, even nonprofit, somewhere in between. They were all doing mass layoffs and people were losing their jobs in droves. Now, a lot of people attributed this to, COVID and just like the economy not being able to stabilize itself with the whole tech boom as well and stuff like that. But with me, I didn't understand why this was happening. And I was just like, something in me, bro, like something in me. I know this is going to sound like, oh, girl, please, to some of you. But if you know, something in me said, I'm going to lose this job soon. I'm gonna get laid off. And I wasn't speaking it into the universe or anything like that. I was just being real with myself, and I felt it. I was going to lose this job soon. And I was just like, damn, like that's really crazy. And I kept trying to convince myself like that's not true. And I would mention it to my boyfriend. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna be here for long. And he was like, no, babe, it's fine. It's fine. You're gonna be fine. And I'm like, So September of 2020 came and I was laid off from my job, and they chalked it up to a company reorg. So it had nothing to do with whether or not I was capable of doing my job. I was phenomenal at my job, okay? I was amazing. I did what I had to do. I was a contributing member of the team. Everybody had nothing but positive things to say about me. I was that girl, period. So it had nothing to do with me. It's just that my position specifically, along with like some other people's positions on my team, and then of course company wide, were just like cut because of like budget reasons, and then a reorg. So they changed the whole company around, they changed teams around and stuff like that. And of course it was a shock. It was a shock to me, kind of. Like I just told y'all, I knew it was coming. So when it happened and I got the call, I was just like, okay. I didn't cry, I didn't shed a tear. I was just like, all right. And it hurt because, again, my first big girl job, and I didn't know what to do with myself. I didn't know what was next. So it was scary. But what I knew for a fact was that I was going to get another job. Okay? I didn't know when, but I knew I was going to get another job. So again, we're back to the same position when I was working in retail. And I did not know where I was going, but I just let it be, and I let God tell me when it was time. So for a few months, I want to say like 3 months, I kind of just like lived off my savings, and I kind of just took a mental break to figure out what I wanted to do next. I kind of reevaluated the grad school thing to see if I wanted to do that. I reevaluated some other positions, if I wanted to do some technical training, if I wanted to go into the health field, if I wanted to do some other things. And I did try some things, but it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel right. And one thing I remember specifically is the amount of anxiety I had anytime I would try something that just wasn't for me. I don't know how to explain this. And if anyone has ever had this like experience before, then of course like comment it and let us know what you felt like in that moment. But it's like I would start doing something, like I would get to another round of an interview, or like no, I hadn't started interviewing at this point or even applying to jobs, but I would start thinking about things and putting these spreadsheets together and doing all these things, and it just didn't feel right. Like anytime I started to work on it, so I gave myself productivity hours where for 1 to 2 hours in the day, from maybe 6 to 7, I would work on this thing. So I would research, or I would look for schools, or I would look for programs or certificates and courses and stuff like that. And I just had raging anxiety about doing it, and I had no idea why. And so when that happened, the thing that was giving me the anxiety, I would work on it maybe like 3 to 4 times. The 5th time it gave me anxiety, I dropped it because I truly believed that like that was just God telling me to let it go. So I let it go. You know, for the first few months that I was out of a job, I was kind of just like in a phase of like waiting and not knowing what to do, and still feeling a little bit hurt and confused and just like tired. I got bored. I didn't want to fill my time with doing YouTube content because honestly, like I just wasn't in the right mental state to do this. And if you're not new here, you know that I always say to you guys, like, one thing I'm not gonna do is just create YouTube content just because. I'm not gonna create YouTube content if I don't feel it, if I don't believe in it, if I'm not in a good mood, because I feel like it just doesn't give off like the product that I want. I sat and I waited and I waited and I thought, and just like in the retail, just like a few years before that, I woke up one morning and I said, it's time. And then I started applying for jobs. I applied for, I want to say maybe like 30 jobs a week or something like that. And honestly, when you're applying for jobs, that's a small amount of jobs to apply for. But because what I was looking for was so specific, it was all I could do at that moment. I was applying for every new job that I got. Every morning I checked, I applied for the jobs before I went to sleep. So I was hitting all of them. You know what I'm saying? It's just that I wasn't willing to settle for something that just wasn't me. I was not going back to retail, and I wasn't going to settle for another like industry. So I applied, and I started to get frustrated, just like everybody else who was laid off. People were saying like, damn, like this is taking so long. Like I've been out of a job for 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. Like I don't even remember how long I was out of a job, but I just remember people on TikTok being so frustrated and just crying and having breakdowns and just being like, when is this going to end? When am I going to get a job again? I just waited. And one day, I remember this so specifically. This is so crazy. Like, you know, when they tell you, talk to God and ask him for exactly what you want. If it's in the plan, it's in the plan. It's in the plan. Some people say, you know, speak it out into the universe and manifest and doing all these things. For me personally, I believe it's all one accord. One day, I was at my boyfriend's house and I was staying with him for like the week or something like that. And we were going grocery shopping. It was like the top of the week. And we were in a car and we were driving and we stopped at a light. And I was like, I'm going to start my new job soon. Like, I'm going to start my new job as a blah, 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 blah. And he was like, you got a job? You got, like, when were you going to tell me you got a job? And I was like, no, I don't have the job yet, but you know, it's coming. Like, it's coming. I have the job, basically. I have the job, but I don't have the job, but I do, you know. And it was so funny because he was like, but I was like, no, I'm serious. Like, I'm going to start my job soon. And he was like, okay, babe, I believe you. You got this. I don't remember exactly when this conversation happened, and I don't remember exactly when what transpired next occurred, but when I tell you, it had been less than 2 to 3 weeks. And you know what, I had texted my friend about this, so I will pull it up on my phone if I can find it, because I don't delete text threads with certain people just because, you know, we talk all the time, so there's no point in deleting our text threads. But anyway, that's besides the point. I'm losing myself. What I'm trying to say is, if I find a message, I'm gonna put it on the screen. But I was telling her, I was like, I got a job. I have a job. And she was so excited for me. She was like, oh my God, like, I told you this was gonna happen. Like, I knew you were gonna get a job. Oh, I got a job right before my birthday. So I got a job in middle of February type of situation. I got a job in the middle of February, like the confirmation and everything. And so I did some digging and I actually got a job offer at the beginning of March and I started the job at the end of March. So the conversation between my friend and I transpired in March after I got the job offer. The day I got the offer, I was at the gym with my boyfriend. And so when I got back from answering the phone call, I obviously told him everything. And then I think later on that week, I told my friend, I called her and I told her about it. So I couldn't find the exact text message of, you know, us talking about it because it wasn't a text, it was a phone call. But later on in that month, we were talking about it. And so that's what I'm going to show you guys in a second. She was so excited because she was just like, it happened right before your birthday. That's so crazy. Like, oh my God, it's all coming together, blah, 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 blah. Like all of these things. And the conversation I had with my boyfriend in the car had happened no later than, I want to say, a month. Or maybe 2 to 3 weeks. I put that on everything. I'm going to find the messages for y'all. It was dead ass not that far back. And again, I was like, yup. I waited. I was humble. I stayed. And it happened. It happened again. Here I am once again spinning the block. God showing me again that he's going to have my back every single time. So I got another job. And that period of my life was over. After I got the job, you know, I started living my life, you know, normally again. But I still felt strange. I felt strange because I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I felt like something was missing and I felt like I could be doing more. You know, I'm 27. I always feel like I could be doing more. And I feel like a lot of people my age experience this. You know, I think it might have something to do with getting to your 30s or just like growing up in a fast changing, evolving environment. I think that this environment, more than any of the others in the past, in our grandparents' like decade and our great grandparents' decades and stuff like that, we are facing a time where we are forced to change and to evolve and to move and adapt faster than anybody else. Technology is moving so fast. We are in the age of AI. A few years ago, people were talking about AI. People were saying how it was going to happen and how we would have to do all these things. Girl, we're here. We're here now, and everybody is trying to adapt. And, you know, now the economy is bad. Everything's expensive. Eggs is about $50 million. You know, it went down. But now everybody's scared that eggs and chicken wings is going to go up again. And it's just a strange time. So I think that regardless of these factors of the economy being bad and everything, I still would have felt like I could be doing more. And I say all of this to say, and I gave you my whole life story for the past 3 years to say that last year I was at a point where I felt stuck. I felt so stuck. And one of the things I felt most stuck about was YouTube. I felt so stuck about YouTube. Like, I genuinely didn't know what I wanted to do with it. As I told y'all, I'm getting older, and like, I just don't want to be doing the same thing constantly. I've only been doing YouTube for a few years now, and not even consistently. There's people who's been on YouTube posting twice a week, 3 times a week, every single, month and stuff like that. People who are trying to grow their platform and be influencers and everything like that. And I haven't done those things. I've been consistent when I have, but it hasn't been always. And there's been things that have stopped me, right? So mental health issues, or like work or family, or just things. Life happens. Life will life. That's it. But there's been times where I genuinely picked up my camera and something went wrong. If you're not new to this channel, I always tell you, it's so crazy because every time I pick up the camera, something starts going wrong. They start honking outside. People blasting music. It's people ha 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 ha, ki ki ki, everywhere around me. It's like it'll be silence. As soon as I turn on the camera, it's a bunch of distractors. And I don't know what that is. I still haven't figured it out yet. But YouTube has always been something where I was just like, I don't know what it's giving. I really don't. So last year was a time where I was just like, I don't know if I want to continue doing YouTube, because again, I felt like every time I picked up my camera, I just had so much anxiety. Girl, I would beat my face completely. I would do my hair, I would pick out an outfit, like a top or whatever, and it just, no, it wasn't working. Then my grandfather got sick. He got sick before, like he was sick for a while, but there was a point where everybody was like, yeah, like he's not doing well and stuff like that. And it was kind of like a prepare yourself type of situation. I'm not somebody who cries a lot. I'm not somebody who, shows my emotion, like wears it on my sleeve type of situation. Like, I don't do none of that. But I didn't know how to deal with that. Like, I really didn't know how to process that. And I kind of just felt like, along with dealing with like not knowing what I wanted to do with my life, and not knowing what I wanted to do with YouTube, and just everything, just the everything of it all, like I also didn't know how to deal with this other thing in my life. So I really didn't know how to deal with like that point in my life, and I don't know, it was just rough. Like, I don't really want to talk about it, but it was rough for me, even though it might not have seemed like it was rough for me to other people. It really was. So there was just a lot happening last year, and I felt very stuck. I didn't feel like it was the worst it could have been, but I definitely felt like I didn't know what the hell was going on. And so that's why y'all didn't see me on YouTube for a long time. You guys didn't see me because I just genuinely had no clue what was happening, and I didn't want to come here and fake the funk with y'all. I didn't want to come here and cry and boo hoo 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 and tell y'all about my sad story and stuff. No shade to the people who do that, but that's not me. That's not my tea. I was just like, I don't know. But I'm here, and I'm back, and we're better, and we're working on it, and we're working through it. So that's just what it is right now. And as I edit this video, I realized that it may come off as a lot of what I was going through last year and the year before that. It was about my job and career and growth and stuff like that. But realistically, there was a lot more happening in my life, a lot of emotional and mental, physical, spiritual stuff happening in my life that was really rough and terrible to deal with. Things I'm not willing to talk about now, or maybe not ever, but just know that along with just the stuff of like losing my job and just dealing with like being stuck and not knowing what to do and feeling overwhelmed and not good enough and all these things, like there was a lot more, okay? There was a lot more happening in my life at this time. But I say all of this to say that last year was not the best year for me. It was pretty difficult. I was dealing with a lot, and I just wasn't in the right place to make YouTube videos because I don't want to fake for y'all. I was going to be genuinely who I am in that moment, and I felt like it would just be fake as hell for me to come on that camera smiling when I was just not having it for months and months and months and months and months. So yeah. Plans for the future as far as YouTube goes, I definitely am going to try to start back posting more consistently. The next video y'all should see after this is a story time on Sunday. So I'm going to try to post this on Friday, and then y'all will see a story time 2 days from now, so Sunday. And then we're just going to keep it rolling. I don't know how long I'm going to keep doing the story times because I definitely don't want to do it my whole entire life, child. But I am going to post a story time for y'all at least twice a month for this year. and I'm gonna post more vlogs. I'm gonna try to go out more often. I'm gonna try to explore and do more things. Yeah, I just don't go outside a lot, but I'm gonna try to go outside and do things and, you know, explore and things like that. And I'm definitely gonna take you guys with me, and hopefully my channel grows and you stay with me. I don't want to be niched. I am unfortunately niched as a story time teller, but that was never the plan. That was never the plan. So I'm working with it, and I'm trying to figure out what to do with that information, and I'm trying to evolve, and I'm trying to do new things. So hopefully you guys stay with me and you watch me and you support me and you grow with me, you know, hopefully. And that's all I can ask. For those of you who want to drop off because, you know, the story times have decreased in frequency or whatever, like, I completely understand. It's no hard feelings, girl. I get it. I get it. There's some people I watch on YouTube that I only watch a specific type of content they post, and it's not because I don't like them. It's just because that's something I'm used to. So yeah, whatever. Like, if that's what you want to do, it's cool. I get it. Thanks for stopping by. So yeah, that's what we're working with right now. It's something. It's rough. It's working. It's something. We're here. And for that, we say praise God. So yeah, that's the end of my video. I hope that you guys, you know, enjoyed it. I don't even know if that's the right word, but I hope you guys, you know, you watched and you, I don't know, like, how y'all been? Let me know in the comments. I hope you guys were doing great, amazing, fantastic, and let's really get into it this year. Let's make things happen. Yeah. So yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much. I love you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, y'all. Say bye, Bailey. Don't say bye. Say bye, everybody. You don't wanna? You don't wanna say bye?